Laser
We need laser chickens in the next movie.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be there. They have to be at some point.
Take 4, marker.
We'll all be playing one. Terry will be like,
Okay, guys.
Hi guys, laser chicken. Remember your head. Don't forget to peck at things every once in a while.
Every now and again, just banana laser eyes.
Hi guys, nice to meet you. I'm Flavia from Walgrow, a World of Warcraft fan site in Brazil. And I'm really happy to be here. Like, I literally cried when I got into this room. And how you guys play orcs in the movie, right?
Yes.
You are Orgrim. No, you are Durotan.
Yes, ma'am.
You are
Gul'dan.
and you are Orgrim. Okay. And how did you guys prepare for it? Like, they have huge stories. They've been around like for almost 20 years. And how did you guys prepare for that?
well, we had an orc camp, which sounds kind of like school, but it literally was school to play orcs. So you kind of got to mold yourself, because the thing with the computer on your back and the cameras picking up your motion, it's very definitive. They take exactly what you did. So you have to learn to move your model. So we spent a great deal of time having the model up, and most of the time I think we were Gul'dan for a long time, weren't we? Because that was the first model sort of created.
Or I think it was Blackhand actually.
Blackhand, that's right, yeah. So we were all kind of Blackhand, so we were all trying to make our character, and what's amazing is about Blackhand, even that model, the way each of us walked could move Blackhand in a different manner. And some of them worked, and in fact, you know, that was basically the initial process. Further than that, there was an incredible script to read and get our dialogue from, but the orc camp was how we did it, right?
Different from a camp orc, by the way.
Different from a camp orc, yeah.
I played the game for 10 years, and so for me, no one had ever been more prepared for a role, I think, than I was for this, because like I've always said, you know, if I hadn't done this movie, those years of my life would have been like a bit wasted, but they totally made it worth it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'm like cool and stuff. Like, people are actually asking me my opinion on set. I'm like,
now you can do interviews and say you spent 10 years researching
right?
this
Yeah.
role.
10 years researching this role.
And how is it like to play the guy that named Orgrimmar?
Well, I like to make the joke that, you know, because Orgrimmar's in Durotan, so, you know, Orgrim's a Durotan. There was good jokes for me in that, but it was, you know, when this came along, obviously we, the players, want to see the Frozen Throne. We want to see Arthur. So that's the story everybody's really, like, excited about.
But it wouldn't make sense, right?
Not yet. You can't do that. So you've got to start at the very beginning and introduce that world before we can even, you know, start talking about Illidan, for example. So for me, when you're talking about characters in Warcraft that I would like to play, yeah, there's Arthas, obviously, but close second behind that would be Orgrim Doomhammer. So when I got the opportunity in the phone call and Duncan said, "Would you like to play Orgrim?" It was like, yeah, okay, please, can I pay you? Better. It was, so for me, it was like the culmination of 10 years of dreaming that came true.
I can only imagine that.
I cried when I stepped into those sets as well.
Like
so
me.
Believe me, you and me, we're weak.
And you guys, did you read about the story of the characters? Are you based only in the script? I know your wife plays, right?
Yeah. She's a big Warcraft player, so that's 90% of the reason why I was able to do this movie, because she forced me to do it. She wanted to come to set. She wanted to touch all the props and sit in the furniture and do all that stuff. Oh, she was just like you, exactly. I know exactly what you're feeling right now. Because when she walked on the set for the first time, she had tears in her eyes and she was running around all over the place like a little child. So it was pretty amazing. And it's great to have her as a reference. You know, it's nice to not have to, well, you know, I did go through the lore online, but there's so much there. Yes. It's hard to filter all that stuff. So it's easy to have a reference right next to you in bed and go, hey, I'm reading the script. Hey, who's this? And who's that? You know, and she can tell me all that stuff. And a good essential resource to have. And then we had all the people on set who play the game. You know, Duncan, Bill, all those people who were vital to giving us information, helping us out, create these characters. Okay,
and your character is like the orc that is really bad. He's evil. And how is that different from the other guys? Like, you were really an enemy, or is it something like you had those moments where you were all part of the same thing?
I mean, he is fighting for the survival of his race, but I think his method is not something that all the other orcs agree with. And so he's very passionate about that. I mean, you could relate him to any kind of megalomaniac leader out there, like a Hitler or whatever. They firmly believe that what they're doing is correct, and that is for their own people, and he doesn't care about anybody else. And that's his mentality. And if people disagree with it, fuck them, kill them, get them out of my way, because that he's ruthless in that way. And so, he is a different mentality than these two guys. These two guys have the sort of more traditional orc philosophy that they can survive on their own, whereas Gul'dan believes that it's the Fel that's going to save all his people.
Yeah.
And on set, you guys were with the humans. I mean, were you wearing your pajamas and they were wearing their armors?
Mm-hmm.
And did you make fun of them? Like, hey, I'm okay. You have
Do you know what?
a lot of armor.
I had a scene where I had to speak Orcish to the humans, and it came that we were shooting all day, and they were shooting on their thing, and they have to get off their horses and come down in their armor. And by the time they turned around on me, they were removing their armor.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, it's stabbing my back," or "Oh, it's on my hip." So we were actually, we've been sitting around in our PJs, basically these spandex suits that you have to wear, the mocap suits, in night shoots, in the freezing cold. But by the time I met the humans, those armors look so impressive, but they weren't as comfortable.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because having a costume does inform character,
Makes you
inevitably.
cool
so
as
not
well.
having one doesn't. But then we'd be watching like poor Travis or Dominic, like whenever Dominic had to try and get off his horse, it was just like it was so difficult for him. Like, and I was just like, "You right?"
I one time saw Dominic, he had his helmet on, and he turned quickly. The helmet didn't move, like, his head turned inside the helmet.
I saw it with his crown too. He turned his helmet, span an extra foot the other way. I think the hardest thing for poor Dominic was he's lying there. He's just sitting there. He's like, "Mate, can you get up?" He's like, "No, I'm just going to sit here, mate, because I
weigh 3 tons.
The first couple days in your pajamas, it doesn't feel very confident building.
Yeah.
No.
But I think after we got used to it and saw the humans and their armor and all that stuff, I felt lucky to be in pajamas.
Yeah.
I imagine. And I have a question for you. You're like God. You're Jesus' father.
I'm
Thrall.
Jesus' father.
Yeah.
Right. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant me personally. I thought finally someone has
To be
realised.
fair, Thrall is more Moses.
Moses. Yeah, I know, but we all call him
Which is
the Green
strange.
Jesus.
He's Orc Jesus.
The Green Jesus.
Yeah,
Green
he's the
Jesus.
Green Jesus. And I
Brazil.
think that's something for the next movies. Like we see him clearly, like even that scene in the river with Draka, it's not in the game. It's not like that. So we see Blizzard is making something like
Yeah,
really.
but that is in the history. That is in the lore. He went
there
down
isn't
the
a
river
lot.
and was found.
No, he wasn't.
It was?
It wasn't.
We'll argue about this later.
Yeah, I hope so. And how do you feel about that?
I feel great about it. I feel really good about it. Durotan was an incredible role. I was just so happy to have done an audition and got a role where I'm not the bad guy. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
finally I got a non-bad guy. Can't see my face. I mean, obviously I've got a bad guy's face, but it was a blessing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the beauty of mocap, and this really felt like each of us, because we're mocap characters, we were chosen specifically because we were the best person for the job. You know what I mean? A lot of times you go for an audition and you're up against someone who's a bigger celebrity than you, or just they're more
bigger
hot right
foreign
now.
sale.
They're a bigger foreign sale type deal. It really felt like a team of people who were chosen because we were the best people for the job. So
That's awesome.
the nice thing about motion capture is perhaps Durotan's not the only character I can play in a movie. Just perhaps. I mean, it's a possibility, So it's exciting. It's a good craft to be playing God in.
And I have one more question. Did you take Doomhammer home?
There was no Doomhammer. We didn't get a Doomhammer. I got a black stick with,
Lights on it.
lights on it. That
You
was it.
didn't get it at
No,
any time,
but I
right?
did go to. I went to a convention where a weaponsmith had built. There was a Frostmourne, a beautiful Frostmourne, and a Doomhammer, and I did buy them to take home. But they were never ones made for set. There was just one giant one that they would bring in this bodybuilder would walk in and do this, so to get their framing, and but it wasn't something you could take. There was no prop Doomhammer, and believe me,
we had virtual weapons.
Yeah, it was. I was crushed by this because I wanted a Doomhammer.
You're bare with mocap. You got nothing.
Yeah.
No props. Nothing to hide behind.
Okay, so thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure talking
Thank you.
to
Thank you.
Thank you.
And hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Us too. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the film.
You will.